enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're all well and I hope you're having a great day. So yes, as the title suggests, today we're back on the Racing Green finally. I'm going to be talking about what's been going on with the engine, a detailed look at the specifications of the engine and what it's going to take to get this car finished, because it's very, very close to being fully restored now. Before we get into that, just another quick plug for my other channel. It's called Rev and Restore. There'll be a link in the comment down the bottom, but basically it's everything non-mini that I get involved with. So there's videos there on the TVR Tamora. There'll be other videos on anything else I'm playing around with that is non-mini. So if that floats your boat, if that's an interest to you, please go over there, subscribe. It all helps to boost the channel. So first off, you may have seen this in a community post, but I bought a new car cover for the Racing Green. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's not brand new. I actually bought it second hand from my friend Alex Toon, who runs the channel Classic Mini Details. He sold his collection of minis at the moment, so he offered the cover to me for a very reasonable price, and it does look absolutely beautiful. I think it looks quite sexy actually, just that shape of the Mini underneath. So let's get the cover off and let's have a quick look at the Racing Green to remind ourselves, because it's been a while. So there we go, the Racing Green in all its glory. And if you've been following the channel, you will know that that thing has been fully restored from pretty much a bare shell, all new panels, no expense spared, some very special features on it like the Mistral mod wheels, the original wheels, that would have been a John Cooper accessory. They're not just mini lights. And obviously it's in the 30th anniversary John Cooper livery. The paintwork looks just as good as when I first sprayed it, which was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago now. So none of the paintwork has sunk back and crazed or anything like that. It is still looking absolutely phenomenal. So as you can see, it is missing an engine and a gearbox and all the running gear, but aside from that, it's pretty much done and ready to go, and it has been for probably 2 or 3 months now. So this has been quite a long-term restoration compared with the other ones I've got involved with, and I actually only finished the paint job probably at the start of the summer this year. So I'm in no rush with this car. There's no rush to sell it or anything like that. It got round to summer, I had a lot of other things going on, and after doing a long restoration like this, you do just want to take a little bit of a breather. So that's what I did. I could have done with the engine back earlier, but to be fair, I didn't give any deadlines on when I wanted the engine finished. When I did ask Paul, and it's gone to my friend Paul Jeffries to be rebuilt, I said, listen, I really need that engine back by the end of September so I can get back on it for the winter. Paul has been very helpful and pulled out all the stops to get the engine done. And as of today, the engine is pretty much done. The whole bottom end of the engine has been done, and I'll go through the specifications in a moment. There's a little bit more work to do on the head because Paul found a problem. So what I'm probably going to do is go and pick up the bottom end and gearbox next weekend, and then maybe the week or the weekend after that, Paul is going to drop the head down to me. Originally, the Racing Green would have had the standard 998cc A+ engine from Rover, producing a whopping 39 brake horsepower. But this car had a John Cooper conversion early on. So that means it went down to John Cooper garages and they fitted a tuning kit to the car, which boosted it to, I think it's 60 brake horsepower. So that obviously gave the car a lot more poke and made it far more desirable. That makes the Racing Green quite a special car, and it's one of the things that appealed to me when I bought it. But when I did buy it and I had a look, it wasn't the original engine in the car. It still had all of those John Cooper bolt-on tuning parts, so it still had the John Cooper cylinder head, it still had the exhaust system, the twin carbs had gone, but most importantly, the bottom end of the engine had been changed, so it wasn't what you'd call a matching numbers car, which was a bit of a disappointment. I actually owned the car for a few weeks when the previous owner contacted me, and he said he was clearing out the garage and he stumbled across the old engine which come out the car, and would I be interested in having it back? And of course, yes, I was very, very interested, because it would have meant getting the car back to an original matching numbers car. So I struck a deal with the previous owner, and that deal was that I would take the original engine, I would fit it in the Racing Green, and I'd give him back the bottom end which came out the car, because He wanted that bottom end so his grandson could learn motor mechanics at college. Unfortunately, the original engine had been sat in a dump garage, so it wasn't in best conditions. I'll stick some photos up in the corner here. In fact, it was absolutely sea solid, and we didn't really know what had gone wrong with the engine in the first place. I think the guy said to me it had oil pressure problems or possibly overheated. So anyway, the result was that engine was going to have to be stripped down to pretty much a bare block and everything replaced on it. So I removed the engine that was in the Racing Green. I picked up the original from factory matching numbers engine, and I took them up to Paul Jeffries and he stripped the engine down, and it's fair to say it was pretty much sea solid, and there wasn't really anything that was salvageable from that engine apart from the original engine block. So the crankshaft was damaged on the end where the flywheel goes, and even when we went to reassemble the engine, there was problems with one of the conrods. So I don't know what went wrong with that engine originally, whether it was oil pressure, whether it was overheated, or a bit of both. But basically, of that original engine, the only thing we could really save was the block. But that is the bit that counts. That's the bit with the tag on it that tells you that's the original engine of the car. So there was really no option than to start right again from that engine and completely refresh it from the ground up. Pretty much everything needed doing to it. So this is where it gets interesting, the spec of the new engine. I've got to read off my phone to make sure I don't forget any bits, and hopefully I'll get this all right. So originally it was a 998cc A+ engine. It has been bored out plus 60 thou. So that makes it a 1045cc now, and it's got plus 60 Hepalite pistons in it, which are produced by Marley, supplied by MAR Motorsport. The block has been decked so that the pistons sit flush with the block, so obviously to make sure we're getting the right compression ratios. And it has a Mini Spares Evo number 1 or 001 crankshaft. To match with that crankshaft, actually, Mini Spares do their own Evo distributors, which specifically match, the advanced curve matches the camshaft on the car. So I've got that distributor coming for the car as well. It's got competition cam followers. It's got an MED alloy cam timing backplate. It's got Marley Motorsport crank big end bearings. And like I said, the crankshaft was actually something we had to replace. We couldn't use the original crank. So it's got a good second-hand original crank in it, which has obviously been all checked out and made sure it's fine. Everything that needed to be done to it. It's got an ACL crank main bearings, and we've gone with an MED centre main strap. It's also got an Iwis simplex timing chain from MAR Motorsport, new core plugs and oil gallery plugs, and we're using Victor Ryan's composite head gaskets. As well as that, it's also got the original John Cooper's cylinder head, which would have been a stage 3. I can't remember exactly. Maybe someone more knowledgeable on the John Cooper conversions will know better than I, but I think some were done by Jan Speed. I'm not sure where the other heads were done. It has also got a set of the brand new MED 1.3 to 1 roller tip rockers. They're brand new. They've literally just started producing these. They're specifically made for the 998cc engine, so all the rockers line up nicely. I did actually buy a set of mini sport roller tip rockers for the 1275 to go on that head, but then MED bought out these new ones specially for 998s, so I actually have 2 sets. One set will be going on eBay. Those roller tip rockers from MED are about the best you can get in the market. And then just to finish it off, we've got the twin 1¼ inch SU Carburettors. We have got an LCB manifold, which you'd have seen in a previous video. I ceramic coated myself, and we've got a full Maniflow exhaust system. In terms of power output, people tend to get carried away, and obviously until it's finished, until it's running, and until I can get it on a rolling road tuned up properly and get a proper power figure, it's all just a guesstimation of what it's going to be. But with those components, we reckon it should be around about 70 brake horsepower, pushing up above 70 brake horsepower, which I think will be really, really nice in this car. If you remember in an earlier video, before I stripped it down, I did actually do a comparison with my Rover Mini Cooper MPI Mini Project Sprout, and this car was pretty much the same speed before anything was done on it. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what it goes like when it's all done and back together. So I'm really pleased to have given you that update on the engine. It seems to have taken forever, and it probably has done, to be honest. I keep thinking to myself, I need to give you an update on what's going on with it. For now, next steps for me, I've got a few boxes of bits and bobs that I need to sort out, brackets and things like that that go on the engine, need cleaning up, need painting, that I need to get ready for next weekend, so when I pick up the engine, it's ready to slot back in again.